Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Petey, and I just got finished playing around with some of my equipment here, and I figured I'd make a quick update video. So I've been playing around with these pedals that I'm using in conjunction with my NUX MG30 in the effects loop of the NUX MG30, and I've made some changes. I've got two boards. I got a little guy and then one that's a little bigger. So as it is now, the little guy is running a buffered ZVEX SHO. So the buffer is non-bypassable. Buffer's always on. And then the second pedal in the chain is a K-line Pure Sky, and this is a Timmy overdrive. The last pedal is a Rev G3. Okay, so this board means business. You can get more gain. The Timmy can do significant gain, and so does the Rev G3. But the Rev G3 also has like a fizzless mode. If you keep the anger switch in the middle, it's like a really colored boost. It works well. Like if you're using it like a tube screamer, meaning you're getting all your distortion from your amp. And that's the case because I'm using amp modeling that's good. It's good amp modeling. The new XMG30, it's not like the old Zooms so much. You get a lot of your, you know what, I shouldn't say that because even like 2 generations ago, the Zooms, the amp models, is where you would get your dirt. When I started using the Zoom stuff with the G10N, I liked it. I mean, at the time, you know, it wasn't bad. And I've got live videos where I'm using that stuff. And I made all the patches myself, and I took time to get the sounds dialed in to what I like. And you'd never listen to it and go, oh, he's playing through a Zoom. You know, you wouldn't. If you listen to the video, you think, oh, that guy's got good tone. So I rest my case. Now with the new XMG30, it's a significant upgrade. Like on the cleaner tones, like it seems to me it's easier to get distorted tone to sound passable. Getting a great high gain tone is something completely different though, and you can get that with the new MG30. You can get it. You can get the older classic rock sounds, and you can get the more modern high gain stuff. And using a combination of pedals with it, it's kind of a thing of me being lazy where I don't want to get an Mvave chocolate MIDI controller and be turning more things on and off than I can, or programming the device for me to have scenes. And it's also because I like the way that the device sounds when you're pushing it with some specific drive pedals and analog drive pedals. You know, there's something to that. In this case, the digital models of the drive pedals are fine, but the stuff that I've been building has different character. And sometimes I prefer to not have character. Like this, it's an EP boost. This is like my favorite pedal. It just makes it sound better. It doesn't change the tone. And I've heard people say that about the ZVEX SHO, but it does. The ZVEX SHO, it changes the tone of the guitar. Changes it quite a bit. The EP boost for me, for what I'm doing, is the least offensive. And I like as far as an always on, I like this. I really do. But there's times where I'd rather have something else doing that job that colorizes it a bit. You know, give it that high end goose, the upper mid. Now, this version of the EP Boost has two toggle switches, one for the fat switch and one for the bright. And the component values for that part of the circuit have been goosed to make a more significant difference, because if you know the EP Boost stock, they have those switches. They're not accessible on the front panel. It's an internal dip switch, and they barely make any difference in the tonality. It's barely makes a difference. These make more of a difference, but it's still not like, oh wow, that's a bass boost, or man, that really killed my treble. It's closer to the negligible side. So they're useful. They're really used. These toggle switches are useful, and I find myself using them. So yeah, I moved the. I had the Pure Sky in the middle where this EP, the orange pedal. I just flip flopped the orange and the blue, and the blue, of course, has the power input on the side, so I had to reroute the powering. I had to drill on both boards. I had to unsolder the power connector. So it was a little bit of monkeying around, but my wife was home. She helped me out, and it's always a joy when I've got her here to help me out. So thank you to Gamti. She's the best. The rest of the pedals on this board, we've got the Hoochie Mama, and that's the Clark Gangster. That's built with old tube-amp parts, meaning huge carbon copper resistors and paper in oil capacitors. And this is a really good overdrive. It really isn't. This is the best overdrive I've ever played through. It's a low to medium gain drive, but it gets up there, you know. But it's not like the Timmy or the Rev G3. This is a low to medium gain. It's respectable, but it gets up there. You know, it really does a good job. It's not like a Bad Monkey, I wouldn't say, you know. It's really smooth overdrive. Like a Bad Monkey, it's got some gain to it. And that's another one that I really like. But is the Bad Monkey analog? I mean, the reason I'm asking isn't because I'm being a tone snob about that, but there's a thing with latency. When you're running digital effects that have latency in the effects loop, all of it, then you're talking about the latency that the MG30 has on its own, and then you're running it through the loop, which has latency, and then there's another device adding more latency in the loop. It's like, you know, that's starting to get dangerous there. So I prefer to have analog pedals, and I'm the other thing is the amount of current draw. I think there's something about the Bad Monkey. Is it a digital pedal? I don't think it is. I have to see what the current draw is on it. But I don't think I'm going to be changing this up. I think this is what I'm going to be going with. We have a buffer in the input that's non-bypassable in this first pedal, and then it's a ZVAX show on this side. On the other side, it is a COT 50. Now the COT 50, this is a clock 50, so it's a clock of tone 50. It's a slightly different circuit, and it's got a master volume. And I had BAT 46 clipping diodes in the circuit, and I took them out. I didn't like what it was doing with the clipping diodes in there, and I thought, I wonder if I pull those out, if it'll just be more like a fat, meaning beefy or bassy boost, because the show is kind of trebly. It's kind of glassy, and it is. This thing, when you take the clipping diodes out, I'm like, I can work with that. So there's 4 circuits, total of 5 with the buffer, and I'll be using everything on this board, and that's ideally what I want. I mean, if I come to some goofy thing, I could always build another EP boost, rip the Cot 50 out of this one here, put the EP boost in this side of this twin pedal, and then bring my Pure Sky back. But I don't think I'm going to be, I mean, we have to see. And if I decide, like, oh, gee, I missed the Rev G3, well, then at that point I can take the orange pedal and flip-flop it here, because this is a ZVEX show. This board is the one that's really nice to have. It's so small, it's lighter. I really like this. I can hold this with one hand, and it doesn't really hurt my wrist. This is a little bit heavier. It's just more wood. It's just heavier, So that's what I got going on. I had made some new patches. We got some new music, and I had made some new patches, and I was getting some noise. So I think I have to do some comparison testing between this ZVEX show and this one, because I think what's going on is the transistor that I picked for this one is a really high gain transistor, and what that means is it's got a little bit more noise. So if I do anything, it'll be take this pedal apart, pull the transistor out of it. It's soldered in there. It's soldered in a transistor socket, so it won't hurt anything for me to remove it. The socket, it has 3 legs, and only one of them has the solder on it to hold the transistor in. So I'll be able to remove that, pull it out, clean it up, and then I'll have to solder extensions on it, or use some kind of goofy method to test it, because it's cut short and you need significant legs on it to really test it. So I'll have to test that transistor and get an HFE level on it, or just start doing it by ear, popping some other BS 170s in there. I know when I built it, I tried a bunch of different ones, and I was going for like, oh, I need a hot one in there. I didn't think like, I know I had one that was like, when you turned it, it crackled really loud because the knob crackles. That was the highest gain. I don't think I put that one in there. I think I put the next one down, But if it's noisy, so I gotta see. I gotta see how this works out. Am I going to be able to deal with the noise with the built-in noise gate on the MG30, or is this gonna play with me? Am I freaking out because if I'm hearing noise, I don't have to use the show, I can just use the EP boost because it's silent. So yeah, it's complicated, man. It's complicated. This tone stuff, it's like you think you've got it figured out, but it really isn't that big of a deal. I mean, the only thing that I'm doing here is wasting zip ties. I can always cut the zip ties, swap the pedals around, and get back to what I had. The only thing that's costing me besides time and frustration is zip ties. And I've got a bag with like about 30 left. All right, you guys. Thanks for joining me on this one. I'll get it figured out. In the meantime, try to stay warm. It's getting chilly out there. Make sure that you hug your pets. That's the most important thing.